What's going on, and welcome into your casual gaming news conversation for this week. I'm Nick, that's Connor, and this is your weekly gaming news podcast from Ep.64. Connor, how you doing?
Doing good. Excited for the weekend. Picked up that Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Got through the first few levels. Enjoying it. Soundtrack of the year, maybe? Maybe.
What are we talking about, Connor?
I think it's my favorite soundtrack of the year.
Okay, let's start here. You're not a huge fan of the Clair Obscur soundtrack, so it's better than that.
I love the Clair Obscur soundtrack.
Okay, yeah,
but I do think it is better than that. Yeah.
Okay, and then better than South of Midnight.
Yes.
And then better than Mario Kart World.
That's a good question.
That's okay. The one. Yep.
I forgot about that one. That's fair. You got me.
I mean, that soundtrack's just unbelievable. It's just straight up nitrogen gas, dude. Like, it's so good, and it's nonstop.
I follow somebody on YouTube who is like a music content creator and was like, the best album of the year is not even an album, it's a video game.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about Mario Kart World.
It's ridiculous. I will say, I was driving just downtown Cincinnati, and, you know, like when you're in the city, a lot of stops, just consistently just stop and go. It's like 95 degrees out, so I got the windows down, I got the AC blasting at my feet, and I am just bumping music from Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Had somebody come by, hit me with one of these, hit me with a rock on. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And even though I cannot say a single lyric in like any of these songs, this is great shit. And no, I think that's probably my soundtrack of the year right now. Like, I just listen to it.
It's gonna win for sure.
Yeah, let's have this question. Game of the year for the things that it can be nominated for. Just like across the board. So things like sound design and then obviously like RPG of the year and everything. How many awards do you think it gets nominated for? And then what percent of those awards does it win? Because I think it gets nominated for 90% of the awards it can get nominated for, and it wins 70%.
The only one I could see it getting nominated for and not winning is game direction. I could see going to Bonanza.
Really? I was going to say going to Death Stranding. Because Kojima.
He won it last time, right?
Yeah. That game is so well directed. It really, I think that is something that I can point to. Of Bonanza also, I think, might have better game direction.
Yeah.
But I think Clair Obscur's game direction is rock solid. I think it should win narrative of the year and stuff like that, potentially. Even though, once again, Death Stranding's right there. And then performance of the year. I was thinking about this the other day. When we did the spoiler cast, I was like, yeah, maybe 3 different people should get nominated from Clair Obscur. My front runner for performance of the year right now is Troy Baker from Death Stranding.
For your own personal preference?
Personal, yeah. I don't think it's going to win it, but I think that he's my performance of the year right now.
I would agree, I think.
Yeah.
I do not think he would win it either. Yeah, I think it would go to somebody from Clair Obscur.
Here's the thing with Clair Obscur, though. It's pretty divisive because there's so many people in the cast. Do you give it to Ben Starr? Do you give it to an Andy Serkis?
I think you give it to Andy Serkis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's just... Is he a better acted villain than the Baconator in Death Stranding 2?
In my opinion, no. Yeah. But I think a lot of people could argue yes.
I mean, that's fair. It's just a fun conversation. You want to know what else is a fun conversation, Connor?
What?
Not housekeeping yet. It's Evo weekend, baby. Dude, I am so pumped. This is the first Evo that I've actually been like really excited for, maybe ever. Like last year I had it on the background. It was the classic example of when I first got into pro Valorant. I would just have it in the background. Right now it's in the background of basically everything I've been doing throughout the morning. Just watch Maximilian Dude react to the Tokon, like different gameplay that's come out, because there's been gameplay that got released yesterday, 11-minute basics trailer that got released yesterday.
You can't switch to your third and fourth party member right away, right?
Yeah. This game is wild. I don't know if it's going to be a good decision for that to be the case. I don't. This is just an odd tag fighter, but I think that there's so much nuance to it that they know what they're doing. We're talking about Arc System Works. They're one of the best in the biz. I have faith that they're going to be like, this is what it is, and then everyone's going to be like, wait, these systems are so deep and so rich that I prefer this compared to something that's a little bit more basic with a tag structure and everything.
Yeah, I like that they're seemingly taking a big swing.
Yeah,
they're not going. I mean, they could have just wrote off of the 4v4 tagline and been like, that's what's differentiating us from other fighting games. But they're seemingly doing more than that.
1 health bar too. for all 4 characters that are all holding down to 1 health bar, and then the way that like throws work and everything, you have to throw your opponent or punch them through a barrier to go and get a screen change to then unlock another character in your arsenal. I'm like, this game has so much to it that I'm just all for. I'm so excited to see how this plays out. And then also, I'm just excited to see how the roster fills out of what we're going to get from these Marvel characters, who we're going to get, how we're going to get them. I think that a big question is, we've gotten so much information about this game this week already, between the PlayStation 11-minute trailer that they released with the fighting stick and stuff like that too. And then they are just showing a bunch of gameplay now that are just out there. I'm curious to see if we get a character reveal. And if we get a character reveal, do we get 4? Because this game works in 4s and everything. And also, there's this movie that just came out, Connor. I don't know if you heard about it, called The Fantastic Four. I think that it would make a lot of sense. Evo weekend. Get it out there. Make it a moment. This podcast, when this comes out on Monday for the free feed, all this will have already happened. I don't think we're going to get it, but I think it would make a lot of sense to get it for that game.
It's possible. It'd be exciting.
Yeah, I'm just very excited right now. I want to watch all the Tekken 8 stuff that's happening. I want to go and just bounce around different streams. Obviously, I'm going to watch a lot of Maximilian. Like, I'm just going to have a great weekend. I'm going to head up to Chicago to see Cage the Elephant tonight. I probably won't have that on in the background or anything, but when that show finishes and I'm just laying on my buddy's couch waiting to go to bed and get ready to drive back down from Chicago the next day, definitely getting some Portillo's tonight. Very excited about that. When I have to drive down the next day, that's when I'm going to be like late night, just catching up with all the news, watching a lot of the matches and everything, having a great time. What you want to know is a great time though, Connor? Housekeeping. Thank you so much for everyone that supports us over on patreon.com/coop64. Link in the description down below if you want that to support us over there. You can get this show 3 days early. You can get the Casual Gaming Conversation 3 days early, and a bonus episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation every single week. And I've already discussed it a little bit. Bonus pod this past week was me and Brady talking about our backlogs, games that we have to get to, that we've not gotten to yet. And one of those things includes an update with me playing Ghost of Tsushima. So you should go and check that out and then hold me to it, because I really need to beat that game this week. But no, that podcast is amazing. That's at the lowest tier. At the next highest tier, you can get exclusive content like Recollection Retro, our retro store podcast. Connor goes and hosts it, takes people into the stores of these retro stores. A lot of fun shenanigans. Or he goes through an entire collection, or the Co-op 64 podcast, where we just have our general discussion podcast. You can write into the Co-op 64 podcast and also become the 4th member at that highest tier. And then at the highest tier also, you can get your name read at the end of every single podcast we do. We do have new members. It is August 1st. We got new members. The list was made this morning. So shout out to everyone that is at that highest tier, helping us out, keeping the lights and mics on, doing some amazing work over there. Twitch streams for this upcoming week. There's a lot of movement happening. So first and foremost, Connor is going to be streaming Metal Gear on Monday. Tuesday will be hosted by myself. It will be the normal Mario Sunshine stream. And then Wednesday will be hosted by Brady, Expedition 33. A lot of fun there. No Thursday stream. So just 3 days of streaming next week, because then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are kicking off the Co-op-a-thon. Connor, break it down for the Co-op-a-thon.
On Friday, we are playing Brothers. Nick and I sitting down doing a full playthrough of Brothers. Saturday, Nick and Brady are playing all of Halo 3 split screen campaign.
Finish the fight.
And then Brady and I on Sunday, full playthrough of the original Lego Star Wars, getting that nostalgia going, playing on PS2. Gonna be a lot of fun. So a weekend of co-op gaming over on twitch.tv/co_op64. Come hang out, come tune in. It's going to be a blast.
Absolutely. And then join up in the Discord. We just announced community nights are going to be a thing in the Discord, hosted by myself, Connor, and Brady, or at least one of us. But this first month, we're getting as many people as we can. That's at Sunday at 7 p.m. We decided on 7 p.m. August 31st. After a lot of streaming this upcoming month, we want to go and close it out with a community. A major focus going into this back half of the year is on the community, hanging out with y'all, having a good time, playing games. And that is going to be Community Fall Guys, which Fall Guys, I believe right now, is a free-to-play game. And so just download on whatever, it's cross-play. We're going to hop in, play some custom games, have a great time. You're not going to want to miss that. Merch, coop64store.com. Review us over on Apple Podcasts. Say something nice about us. It means the world to us. And then If we messed something up on this show, please hop in the comments down below and let us know what we messed up, so on the next episode we can set the record straight. This previous week, not a lot of conversation. Some conversations about Battlefield 6, but not too much, and some very nice words in the comments. If you also want to just say something nice, we read all the comments. It really does make our day. It makes us want to go and kick ass on the next show we do, and just really, it does uplift us. So thank you to all the people who have said nice things about this show or any show we do, or just in general. It does really mean the world to us. All right. Headline: Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase July 2025. Everything announced. This is Adam Bankers at IGN. Quote, a brand new Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase has arrived, and it gave us a glimpse at the future of Switch and Switch 2 from Nintendo's publishing partners. From Octopath Traveler 0 to Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, to Madden and EA Sports FC, there were a lot of games from different genres on display. End quote. Connor, we watched this one. This was a fun one where we got to sit down and enjoy a morning of games. It was not the morning we expected on Monday to be enjoying. We all thought we were going to get a full-on Nintendo Switch Direct, the first major Direct after the console launch. Instead, it was a partner showcase. We're now a day removed from it. We did a little bit of a post-game breakdown, but where are you at with this Direct now that it's been a day?
Yeah, like you said, we went in with very tempered expectations, knowing what previous partner showcases have been. And even with that in mind, I left pretty disappointed. I think if the highlight of your Direct is Octopath Traveler 0, which is exciting, I think that is a bit of a problem. I think you need to come out with at least one big swing. And if the big swing is that Octopath Traveler game, I think that's a little bit of a letdown. There's a lot here that I'm decently excited about. It's cool that we're getting another Katamari game, like a full new Katamari game after a very long time. I know Monster Hunter Stories has its fan base, and I understand that is a decently sized announcement. Octopath Traveler, a series that I've enjoyed. I've not beaten either of them. I really enjoyed the 10 hours that I played with Octopath Traveler 1. Would like to get back to it eventually. This game looks gorgeous, and I'm excited for the Octopath fandom that I'm sure is stoked on getting another game in the franchise, and so soon, December 4th.
Yeah.
Very, very soon. And it's exciting to get another Switch 2 title out there for people to be excited about. And then you also have that ARPG from Square Enix in the HG 2D art style that I think looks pretty solid. It's a new, innovative take on that art style, or like the utilization of that art style, rather. I think it has a little bit of a ridiculous name. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
Something like there's too many words.
But I'm interested in that. And it has a demo out, I believe.
Yes.
So I think I'm wondering how people are receiving that. But yeah, I think with all of that in mind, knowing that we had our expectations in check going into it, I would say like a 5 out of 10. It's something that I definitely did watch, but I don't feel any more hyped about the Nintendo Switch 2 than I did going into it. And I think that is a major issue for a new console, where you really want to keep the excitement going. I enjoyed Mario Kart World. I love Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I love using my Switch 2 right now, and I want more reason to pick up that console. And in the first year of Switch 1, it was like you have Breath of the Wild, and that's an amazing experience. Mario Kart World, then you have Splatoon, ARMS. You just were constantly getting games from a first-party perspective that were making you glued to the console. And right now, I know that those games are coming down the line, but I would really like firm answers on when they are coming. When is the next big Nintendo Switch 2 title that I'm going to be enjoying on that console? I'm playing Ninja Gaiden Ragebound on it right now, which is nice. I love just taking that game on the go with me, playing a little bit here and there, 30 minutes. It's perfect for that. But I want to know when Metroid Prime 4 is coming out. So with that in mind, 5 out of 10, a bit disappointing, but we knew what we were getting into.
It's like going to the coffee shop, getting a decent cup of coffee, being like, there's nothing crazy about this. There's nothing too extravagant, but also it's sort of what we ordered. Like we got what we expected, which was a just partner showcase. With that being said, this showcase, if we want to talk about like the what if scenarios, it didn't have Hollow Knight, it didn't have Hades 2,
Elden Ring
didn't have Elden Ring, or when we saw Square Enix show up in a major way at the end of there. Where's the date for Final Fantasy VII Remake for Switch?
Elden Ring and Final Fantasy VII Remake felt like shoo-ins. That was definitely going to happen 100%, and to not see them there, it's very odd.
I think that at this point you got to assume that maybe Square and Bandai want to do it on their own terms and like get that tweet out themselves potentially, but like even then, this is a great way to capture the Switch audience. Maybe they're saying we're too big for a partner direct, and like we want our own moment in the sun, as some of these like major IPs like Elden Ring and Final Fantasy are two of the biggest gaming IPs ever.
I do think that lends some credence to the idea that we might get a full-fledged direct in September, and you could see those games show up there.
Yeah.
You want them to be on the biggest stage because they're these big AAA games. So maybe that could play
totally.
into it.
It totally could be the case. My big question at this point is, let's just like zoom out a little bit. We talk about this first year. I've said for a long time, I kind of don't. I want these dates. Don't get me wrong. I want the dates for Kirby and I want the dates for Metroid. As of right now, as it stands, these are 2025 games. If that stands true, I'm good. Like, I don't need a consistent rollout because there are just so many great games happening all the time. Like, we're a week away from Mafia, and then we're a couple of weeks away from Delta, and then we're a week away from Hell Is Us and Lost Soul Aside and all these games. But the big thing is, when you're talking about Switch, it's what am I playing on the Switch? And
Right.
for me, it's I've got Hollow Knight on that thing downloaded whenever I'm on the plane next or the next time that I'm like, I don't want a game on my TV anymore. I'm just going to go to bed and like play for another hour. There's a bunch of use case there. The issue is this didn't sell anyone more so on getting a Switch sooner, which is kind of a factor with the next news story that we're going to be discussing here in a moment. But my question turns to you of, you have been Mr. We could still see Metroid in August. Where are you at with Metroid and its release date at this point? Is there still a snowball's chance in hell that we get this game this month?
No.
Okay.
I do not think that's going to happen. I think it is a serious possibility at this point that the next major game I am playing on Nintendo Switch 2 is Pokemon Legends Z to A, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I think you could see Metroid Prime in November, and you could see Kirby Air Riders in December.
Yep.
And I think that is a crazy 3-month stretch of Pokemon, Metroid, Kirby, but I want those games sooner. It's kind of disappointing just knowing that I might have to wait 2 months straight of going through August, which you're getting Dragon Drive. So I mean,
don't
that's
sleep
something.
on Dragon
It's
Drive.
something.
I've been saying that that's the August game for a minute, and everyone's just like, it's not enough. And I agree that it's not like a ton, but it is Nintendo first party, and it is seemingly what they want to go and promote as like, hey, remember like going and having an awesome experience with your friends playing Nintendo IP? This can be one of those types of games. $20, hop in for a week and have fun.
Yeah, I can see myself getting way too into this game for 2 weeks straight and then never playing it again.
This is going to sit firmly at our number 10 on Game of the Year list, where not due to the how quality of the game, due to just the amount that we play it. That's where Rematch is going to end up. Let's be real.
So I think that Pokemon being the next big game is a possibility, but I also think it's a strong possibility that on the Nintendo Today app in mid-August, they say Metroid Prime out September 19th or whatever the Friday is.
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday it is, yeah.
And it comes out sooner than later. So.
Yeah, I think that this game is still pretty soon. I don't think that we get through September without it, but
they had an ad up in London saying out today. They have the posters ready.
Connor,
if they have the posters ready, that must mean that it's somewhat close.
I'll say it's somewhat close. I'm at the point though that we all need to take the step back and be like, yeah, people have marketing material go out places all the fucking time, and it's wrong all the time.
Not 3 months early though. If it's coming out in November.
That's a good point. You're making a good point. But potential. Here's the thing, Connor. You can say that doesn't happen until it happens, and this might be the first time it happens, because I do think that there is a world. I think that right now, where are you placing your chips? If you had to call out a date, is it September, October, November, or next year? Because I'm getting more and more on the boat that it could be next year. And if it's next year,
it's not next year.
Okay.
I won't accept that. I'll be so disappointed. I'm not going to put that energy out into the world that this game is going to get delayed. It's coming out this year. I want to play this fucking video game. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, real quick, where are you at with Metroid in the scale of this entire year? Because we do have a fall preview episode that's planned for weeks down the line. By the way, also shout out, we're getting really close to episode 100 of Casual Gaming Conversation, like real close. Right. But where are you at when it comes to sitting with the fact of Metroid Prime? Where is that going to land in your arsenal of fall gaming? Especially, I've said it maybe 100 times at this point. October's effed. So are you like, I need this game in my arsenal coming down the line? Because for Donkey Kong, I was like, I need this for my summer of gaming. Metroid, not so much.
I mean, you don't need it as much because you have so many games coming out, like you said, like Ghost of Yotei, Hell Is Us, Borderlands 4.
Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, so there's a lot to play, but I want that Nintendo magic. And I think that you're probably going to get that from Kirby, but we don't know exactly what that game is, Kirby Air Riders. I think I know what Metroid Prime 4 is.
Yeah.
I think it's basically a guarantee that this game is going to be great at its floor. Can it reach the heights of something like the original Metroid Prime 4, or sorry, Metroid Prime? I think that's possible.
Yeah.
And if that's possible, that we're talking about all-time great caliber gaming right now. And I don't think that there's any other game coming up for the rest of the year that I can point to be like, that could be one of the greatest games of all time. I think Ghost of Yotei is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't think it's going to be one of the greatest games of all time.
As I'm going through Ghost, I'm getting more and more assured at where I'm at with Ghost, which is like, this is like if we were the 100-point scale, this is an 87. Like it is just, that is what it is to me. It's like, I think that this is better than a lot of 8.5s that have given out, like a Stellar Blade. I think that this game's better than Stellar Blade, but I don't think it's better than all games I've given out 9s to this year, including things like Donkey Kong or even Mario Kart World. Like, and obviously I'm very high on Mario Kart World. I understand that that's the case. I think Ghost is going to be awesome, but it's like perfectly like around that 87, 88-ish area. Metroid Prime, on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, like sign me the fuck up. Metroid Prime 1, one of the greatest games of all time. And that is not me saying that from hyperbole. I'm looking at you, audience, who's like, Nick says this all the time. No, Metroid Prime 1 is legitimately one of the greatest games ever made. Is game design perfection, basically.
If somebody wants to say Metroid Prime, the original, is the greatest game of all time, I'd be like, yes, sure, whatever.
Two thumbs up.
That's I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Like on paper, it's an immaculately designed video game.
It is game design perfection outside the fact that this would be the easiest 10 for me maybe ever if there was just, and I understand it's a Metroidvania, there shouldn't be a amount of direction. This game does get a little bit confusing though on some of those aspects. If you just told me where the next spot I had to go to was, like in a dot very far off away and stuff like that, without it there being a timer or whatever where it just like shows up, if I could go to my ship and it guaranteed that happened, this would be the greatest game of all time.
But some people like that shit. Some people like just finding their way to the next thing.
Totally.
And if that's you, then this game is perfect.
Yeah, but I have a Metroidvania issue. I need to be diagnosed with this one, Connor, because for me, Metroidvanias, I with almost every game I play, look up how long it takes to beat because I need to schedule my shit, you know? And when it takes a lot longer than that, I get really upset with myself. And I don't know if I've ever played a Metroidvania where it hasn't taken me a lot longer than I initially thought it was going to.
Have you played any of them off stream?
I mean, The Lost Crown, we played off stream, and that took longer than I thought it was going to by at least 5 to 6 hours.
And that's just because you're getting lost?
Yeah, and it's because I'm bad. Like, this is one of those that, like, I can fully admit Metroidvanias are not my genre. Platforming, we've all seen me platform before. I'm not the best at platforming. I'm much better than you, but I'm still not the best at platforming. Way better than Brady. I struggled through this genre a little bit. I enjoy this genre, but I only enjoy like 1 to 2 of them a year. I can't be playing a ton. Metroid Prime, though, earlier this year, like, unlocked something in me where when it came to puzzle design and world design, I was like, this is my favorite Zelda game. And it makes no, I understand that people are like, what? It's a first-person shooter compared to a third-person action-adventure game. It comes down to puzzle and room design in the way that works for Zelda temples, especially in the older Zelda titles, or even shrines in the modern ones. Mm-hmm. I can go and point to this and be like, the way that the puzzle's laid out in front of me, and it's like, all right, you have this ability to go and morph ball, and then attract to the wall, and then go up to the right down, and then you turn around and you use a plasma beam to go or a freeze beam to go and freeze that, and then the puzzle solves itself, and then you're able to go and traverse forward. I'm like, this works so well and makes me so happy, and like I love all of this game design so much, whereas like Zelda puzzle design and temples sometimes get a little bit irritating for me. I am so stoked for Metroid Prime 4. I cannot wait for this game. With that being said, like you said, I don't need it. I don't need it in my life right now, and there, especially with the August and the September and the October and the November we have, I will say this game, thankfully, I would bet it's not in October, right? Because of Pokemon?
Because of Pokemon, yeah. when is that? It's at the end of the month?
17th, I think. It's like dead center.
Yeah, that's one of the situations where I was like, maybe you could squeeze it in, but like it's right in the middle. So like, yeah, you can't put it on either side of that.
Exactly. So my guess is that, and good for Metroid, because if it was in October, there's too many games. I also think that right now there's too many games in September. I think that Nintendo might have this strategy right now where they look at the gaming landscape as a whole. And I know that they normally drum to their own beat. Like they like to be like, I don't care if GTA 6 is coming out the next day. We're dropping Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze remastered the day. Like they don't care.
Right.
But in this situation, I could see them be like, okay, we've sold a shit ton of consoles. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Sold a ton of consoles. A lot of these consoles are going to hardcore gamers. And I don't want to go and directly compete with some of the hardcore games that are happening in September, especially. Maybe we punt it to November, where there is just open seas, baby. There's not a lot of games coming out with a November release date. And honestly, Octopath Traveler 0 is like the only thing I have on our December calendar for notable games that are coming out thus far. Mm-hmm. So I could see them going and pulling the curtain back and be like, hey, we should just wait till November at this point because there's no competition. Let's get in under the GOTY deadline so we can have this thing nominated for a shit ton of stuff because it's probably going to be fucking awesome as it normally is. And then just make a ton of money that way and also let this game breathe more because everyone's going to go and buy Switch 2s for Pokemon. So you have an even bigger player base that you can get this out to for Switch 2s at that point too. Then I also want to talk about Kirby at this point. Is Kirby definitely this year in your mind? Because you said we're getting Metroid Prime this year. Connor Evans guarantees you're getting Metroid Prime this year. If it doesn't happen, he will eat a shoe. And you heard that from the man himself. Anyways, Kirby, do you expect it this year at this point 100%? Or could we see this slip into next year?
I expect it this year. I would not say it's 100%. I would say that Metroid Prime 4 is much more likely. We've seen much more of that game. We've seen basically nothing of Kirby Air Riders, but I think Nintendo needs to fill out their slate. It's the first year of a console. You need to just keep getting people to engage with the platform and get new people excited about it. So I think that they're probably going to really push to get that game out. Yeah. I would say it's more likely than not.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it already with like Dustbloods. I expect that early next year and everything. So I don't think that they're afraid to stack up this year because I think that they got more gas in the tank down the line.
If I'm them, you're running the same playbook as Switch 1 because it was such a massive success for you. And if they're looking at the cadence that they had with Switch 1, they're looking at Kirby and Metroid and Pokemon and being like, we need to hit with these games.
I think that they need to hit in quality, not at so much quantity. I think that if you let's just remove Kirby Air Riders from the equation for this year. Like, let's just take it out. Is it still not an unbelievable first year?
Unbelievable?
Unbelievable.
I think it is I think you could include Kirby Air Riders, and some people are going to say it's just okay.
I am so this is already planned for December and everything. We will grade each Xbox and Nintendo's and PlayStation's year on Bonus Pod. That's going to be the full thing. Where do you expect this to end for their year? Because if we're just talking about 6 months of time and to have 5 first-party titles all above, let's just say Arceus hits to the level, or sorry, ZA hits to the level of Arceus. Let's say they all go above 85 on Metacritic. 5 games.
How do you factor in the fact that 2 of those games are on Switch 1?
I don't give a shit.
It's so funny. Me too.
Yeah, like at all. Some people will, but like Miles Morales is a PS5 game to me. That is what that is. God of War Ragnarok is a PS5 game to me. That is what that is. That game is optimized to be played there. It released day one on the modern.
It's like a Breath of the Wild. Switch 1 game.
If somebody says that the case is, well, this game was played somewhere else, so it doesn't count as a exclusive for this console, I would point to Breath of the Wild because everyone in Obama calls that game a Switch 1 release. Right. It is the Switch 1 banger app. Nobody was like, well, I got this Wii U hanging out, so I'm going to play it over there. No one said that. Like, there were some Wii U truthers back in the day and everything, but those were also the hardcore Nintendo fans, so they were going to go and pick up a Switch 1 no matter what. Anyways, we can't have that be the case. So when I look at this year, I legitimately do not give a rat's ass that those two games are coming out on Switch 1. I'm stoked for those players that are excited about it. I'm stoked for the people that have not been able to find a Switch 2 yet, or they currently don't have the finances for it. I'm stoked that they're going to get to play some hopefully awesome games. But I also firmly believe that this year is so freaking good for Switch 2 that I don't need Kirby Air Riders in this year. I would get, like, let's remove Kirby Air Riders from the equation. I would give this, like, 6 months. We're getting 4 banging titles. It's like a 9 out of 10 for me. Like, that is an awesome 6 months. If we were talking about the year as a whole, there's 6 more months to talk about in here. But, like, I think that they're doing a great job with the rollout, even if some of these games get delayed. And that's why I am not too doom and gloom with this partner showcase, where I'm like, I think that we're still going to have fucking awesome games. I do think that, though, this is the definition of a slight misstep. Like, it's not a disaster zone, but this is a misstep when you could have held your cards back just a little bit, go and put out some tweets. Hey, Star Wars Outlaw, September 4th, go and pick it up if you haven't played that one yet. And then move forward with your life and get ready for a September bang and direct where they could have held back a couple of these announcements, like Monster Hunter Stories, for example, Katamari,
Octopath.
All those could have been added to a banging Nintendo Direct where we get those like Switch headlines in the middle of that Direct, and it is Katamari and it is Monster Hunter Stories, and there are people that are like, dude, Capcom's got a great RPG coming out on Switch, hell yeah. And then Octopath, Octopath, I feel like, is like it does hit this audience well, but it is also the perfect mix of like, this is niche, it's JRPG like fandom, like, you know what Octopath is if you play a lot of JRPGs and everything, but also like it's big enough that people know about Octopath at this point, and people know that this is the 3rd entry in the series at this point,
and it's very associated with the Switch.
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler 1 was huge on the Switch, and it was exclusive.
It was for a time, I believe. Yeah. I think they came over eventually.
It is migrated to other platforms. But like, people still, I imagine, associate Octopath with Switch. So getting another one for Switch 2, which I think there's a version for Switch 1 and Switch 2, there's some story going around that there's no upgrade path, which sucks. It's like you have to just buy the game twice if you want the better version.
I mean, yes, but then, so there's a no upgrade path if you get the Switch 1 version, then you get a Switch 2 down the line. Yeah,
and you put the Switch 1 version in the Switch 2. There's no way to like...
It just doesn't work, or there's...
It'll work. It just won't have any of the enhancements.
So at that point, I think that they're just being like, if you want this game on Switch 2, have a Switch 2 in time. I know that that's not good. Sucks. That's not a good thing or a good answer to it. And could you imagine it being third party, their decision, being like, we don't want to go and work through making this an easy transition, so we're not going to have it? Because it's just more money in Square's pocket at the end of the day.
Are you saying that it's on Nintendo for not allowing to happen?
I'm saying, is it on Square?
Yes, I think it's on Square.
And so at that point, it's like, you can't blame Nintendo for not utilizing that technology well. You got to just blame the publisher in that scenario.
Yes, I think most people would blame the publisher. Yes.
Well, I assume that there are people out there being like, what the fuck, Nintendo? And it's like, no, I think that that's not necessarily agreeable in this situation. But no, I think that all things considered, Nintendo is in a great spot right now. And that leads us perfectly into headline number 2. Headline, Nintendo, and now... Oh, sorry. We're going to save... We're going to this headline first, because the other one's a little bit more sad. We'll stay positive Nintendo for one moment. Headline, Nintendo has sold 6 million Switch 2 consoles and almost the same number of Mario Kart World. This is Andy Robinson at VGC. Quote, the company released its latest financial results on Friday, which covered the 3 months ended June 30th and are the first to include Switch 2 sales. Switch 2's big launch game, Mario Kart World, sold nearly as many copies as the console during its first month at 5.63 million copies. Switch 2 sold 5.82 million units in June and 8.67 million games. Despite being a launch title and being constrained by its user base, Mario Kart World is the series' second biggest launch behind Mario Kart Wii. Mario Kart World was available as part of hardware bundles, but Nintendo's figures suggest that the number of players bought the standalone Switch 2 console and bought Mario Kart World separately, bringing the game's total attach rate to 96.7%. I'm going to read that one more time, bringing the game's total attach rate to 96.7%. The Switch 2 sales figures marked a console launch record. In comparison, PlayStation 5 shipped, in parentheses, not sold, 3.4 million units in its first 4 weeks on sale, and 4.5 million in its first 7 weeks, though Sony consoles suffered from significant stock shortages. End quote. I mean, this is just a ridiculous story. We can complain all about the fact that Metroid's not coming next month. Nintendo doesn't give a shit. They're rolling in it right now. Is this what you expected? Did you expect it to be this banging immediately? Or did you expect there to be some bumpy roads, especially having the launch title be Mario Kart?
I expected all of this.
Yeah.
I think that launching with Mario Kart, one of your biggest franchises on paper, it's the best-selling Switch 1 title.
Yep.
Was a really solid move when it comes to pushing your console out and getting it into as many people's hands as possible. I know that I personally would have preferred Donkey Kong Bonanza, but from a business sense, Mario Kart World is the right decision. And you can tell from the attach rates that there is a ton of interest in this title. You're coming off of one of the most beloved consoles of all time, one of the highest selling consoles of all time in the Switch 1. And that console sold very well at launch off of what it was, a handheld portable Nintendo hybrid off of the Wii U, which people hated and still managed to sell extremely well. So now with the momentum of the Switch 1, as I said, one of the most beloved consoles of all time, going into the Switch 2, which is an incredibly safe console, people are like, fuck yeah, more Nintendo stuff. I know that you have issues with the game prices and the overall price of the console, but there is so much goodwill built in to Nintendo and the Nintendo brand and the nostalgia at this point that they were just riding that high of Switch 1 straight into the Switch 2, and none of these numbers surprise me because of that.
Yeah. I further into the article, once again, Andy Robinson at VGC, great read if you want to go and hear everything that he says, because it's very fascinating. They expect to sell 15 million units in a year. They're like, that's what our goal is. They're gonna fucking do it. And they're like, we talk about lofty goals all the time when we talk about some Battlefield later in the show. It's like the amount of times that people are like, we're gonna just freaking murder this launch, and it doesn't happen, is basically every single time. You always overestimate when you're talking about projections in business, often because you want to go and have good numbers to show to shareholders and people internally, or your owners, or just whomever. They're going to be able to do it because, like you said, they have so much goodwill from the Switch 1. I think that this thing could have cost $500 and it still would have been the same story too. Like a $500 without Mario Kart. The $80 price tag, so many people, as much as there was an outcry being like, don't do that, that's a bad idea. A lot of people also said, I'm just going to buy the bundle. I feel like there's more people that were like, I'm just going to buy the bundle than there were people being like, $80 is unacceptable. Because there's so many people that are just like hardcore Nintendo fans and love what Nintendo do so much that they're like, yeah, I don't care. You have Mario Kart. Like, I said this on the bonus pod with Brady and everything. I'm hosting Mario Kart night in a couple weeks. The amount of people that I've talked to that like this went from just a few of us hanging out to like I think that there's like 10 people hanging out now. It all stemmed from, he has the new Mario Kart. That's awesome. I want to play it. It doesn't matter. People are so excited about this IP that the amount of memories, the amount of nostalgia, the amount of just easy pick up and play. Somebody, I was talking to one of these guys earlier today, and they were like, "Yeah, I think I might come by. I'm not a gamer or anything." Without me being able to say anything, somebody jumped in the conversation and said, "It's Mario Kart. You're gonna be fine."
It's universal. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you even play video games.
Yeah.
You enjoy Mario Kart. Everybody fucking likes this shit.
Yeah.
Except for our friend Jason. He hates it for some reason. He's the only person
wild.
I've ever met in my entire life who doesn't like Mario Kart.
Yeah, I go back to being a college student and like playing so much Mario Kart Wii, because people have Wii's and what are we doing? We're gonna hang out, pregame a little bit, have a drink. Okay, what are we gonna do? Let's play some Mario Kart. It's that universal. So I do think that prediction wise, 96% is fucking crazy. I wouldn't have been able to predict that number.
I'm not even surprised by it, though.
But I'm not that shocked.
So what else are you going to fucking buy?
Yeah.
You had that story a while ago that third party wasn't doing great, and it's because everybody's buying the Switch 2 with Mario Kart, and then they're like, we'll get something else down the line.
And the nice part now is I think the Switch 2 is so purchasable. I think it's such an easy recommend now with Bonanza.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But like, hey, you want to go and pick something up? I think we go back to the PlayStation 5 launch, which you and I both agree is like by far the best launch to a console ever. And it was because they had solid third-party support. You could play the new Call of Duty. You could play an Assassin's Creed game on it. That was great. But also you had Miles Morales, which is fucking Spider-Man, which is just a universal IP, easily to hop in. Was coming off of Into the Spider-Verse at that time. It's like, yeah, this is gonna rip. And then you have Demon's Souls, which is great for the hardcore gamers. We have the universal game with Mario Kart now, and you have Donkey Kong, which is for the hardcore gamers. Also, this game though, anyone can really pick up and play and have a good time in, because you are Donkey Kong just smashing around the entire time. I could not find a single Bananium gem in that game, and I could have a blast. That's how good that fucking game is. So really, it's just, yeah, this is an easy recommend. They have great goodwill. The games are awesome. The lineup coming down the pipeline, as much as we want to go and be like, damn, I to be clear, I've said that I don't expect Metroid in August for a while. I've said September. It could come out in November, and I'd be like, darn. But like, I'm stoked for Metroid whenever it comes. You know, it doesn't fully matter too much. I just want to play that game this year. Hopefully, they got great games coming down the pipeline. I don't know how they don't hit that 15 million number in a year, or I think it might not even be in a year. I think it's by the end of their financial quarter. Connor, is there a chance that they don't hit 15 million by the end of this projection?
I think they might be underselling it. It's possible. Like, they have so much momentum right now. I feel like every single time the Switch goes up on Walmart or Target, it's up for a decent period of time, but it always eventually does sell out. There is interest in this console, and even if you didn't get one at launch, now that more games are coming out, you have more interest in it, you can go get one. And they seemingly really did prepare for the influx of people going out and trying to buy them. Like, I've never seen a console be this sought after, but also this available, that I think it's hard to imagine that whatever sales projections that they have, that they're going to meet them and potentially exceed them.
I do have it up now. This is still from the same article, Andy Robson at VGC. Quote, despite Switch 2's massive start, Nintendo said there were no changes to its financial forecast for the fiscal year, which is to sell 15 million consoles by March 2026, which is the end of the fiscal calendar for most gaming companies. Yeah, they're going to do it. And we haven't even talked about why they're going to do it yet. Pokemon. Right. We talked about this big IP in obviously Mario Kart, and the attach rate is going to be extremely special. They're bundling Pokemon with the Switch. People have been waiting so long. They're like, I've been waiting on Pokemon. That's my game. That's the one that I need. It's like, cool. You're going to pick that up, and you're probably going to also have the amazing choice of picking up one other game that day, being like, do I want Donkey Kong for another single player experience, or do I want to pick up Mario Kart so I have something that I can play with my family or my spouse or some friends? Like, these are great decisions. It is a great time to be a Nintendo fan. Going back to story number one, I can't wait for the next Direct. I can't wait for every Direct that we're going to get for the next 5 years, because it's just seems like it's going to be gas after gas. I think that this podcast has been really fun, where it's turned into just like so positive with Nintendo and everything. And we do have a negative Nintendo news story next, but like they're doing it so well right now. It's kind of ridiculous how well they're doing it, and the numbers show. All right, now to some bad Nintendo news. We had to hit the brakes eventually with Nintendo dominating this year. Headline: Nintendo announces U.S. price rises for original Switch, warrants price rises for Switch 2 games, and the NSO membership, quote, may be necessary, end quote, in the future. This is Wesley Impel at IGN. Quote, Nintendo has announced a range of price raises for various OG Switch products in the US, and warned price rises for Switch 2 video games and the Nintendo Switch Online membership may be coming down the line. The price rises, which were, quote, based on market conditions, end quote, Nintendo said, come into effect on August 3rd. On this article that Wesley wrote up, there was a post from Wario64 that got a screen grab of Target posting these prices. And so this is just reading straight from that Wario 64 tweet. Nintendo Switch console prices, Nintendo Switch console price increase are already effective at Target. Switch OLED is now $399.99 from $350, so about a $50 price raise. Non-OLED is $339.99 from the original $300, so about $40, and then the Switch Lite is $229.99 from $200, so about $30. Alarmo is also going up $10, and Joy-Con 2 controllers are going up $5. Shit's getting more expensive for the Nintendo branding. You and I were shooting the breeze a little bit about this before the show started and everything, and the big thing that we kept on going back to is Switch 2 going to follow suit? And is it going to follow suit soon? Because I would have expected it to be Switch 2 first. It's your new product. Hey, we got to make this extra money now. Let's do it now. Maybe they don't want to damage the brand, but for me, it was like, I think that I expected if we were going to get this article, it's going to be Switch 2. And with that, do you expect a Switch 2 price raise at this point?
I would not be surprised if that happens. If you want to Switch 2, I think this might be the cheapest it ever is. So maybe spring on one sooner than later. This sucks. It's never good when there are price raises for a product that people are excited about that now you might be priced out of being able to purchase it, or you have to save up a little bit longer if you were excited about eventually getting an original Switch or an OLED or whatever. But luckily, as we were discussing before the podcast, I think most people who want a Switch probably already have one. So it's, I guess, at least some consolation that this is only for the previous Switch, because hopefully you already have one if you want one, but it still sucks anyways. There might be a reason for it, tariffs, inflation, whatever, but explaining that doesn't make it any more palatable for the general audience that now they have to pay more for something that they were potentially going to buy.
I think that the big issue here isn't even that the price isn't just going up. I think most people expected, you just released a new console, the previous one goes down.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about, no, it's going up, I think that there were people, the market that we're talking about of like people that haven't gotten a Switch yet, those people were waiting for a Switch to be at GameStop for a couple $100 and say, hey, you can pick up Zelda Breath of the Wild and you can pick up a Switch for like $250. It's like, awesome, great. That makes a lot of sense for people, whereas $370 might not make as much sense. But like that is for me personally, I'm like, mentally that feels like you got the extra $100 in there and an extra 20. That's a lot of money there. This feels a little bit more like, like $250 would be all right for those games. I won't recommend the Switch 1 anymore at this point. Like that feels like for $120 more though, you can get the new hotness, a console that came out almost 8 years after the original. Like that makes a lot more sense in my opinion to go and be like, go do that. And I don't think that this decision is to push people into Switch 2s. I think that this is a situation where they say, hey, this is the reason we kind of feel like we have to go and increase the price at this point. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I feel awful for the consumers in that situation. I don't feel great for Nintendo in this situation to have this bad press when they are currently just crushing it. Because at the end of the day, what I always say is good games industry is great games and people not getting laid off. We don't hear too often about Nintendo employees getting laid off. And guess what? They're fucking making unbelievable video games right now. So this one sucks. I don't really have too much more on it other than the fact that, I think that if you are a fan of Nintendo Switch and you've been holding out for Metroid or ZA, there is a realistic chance. We talked about this back in April. There's a realistic chance that the Switch 2 goes up in price. That this is the cheapest you will be able to pick up a Switch 2. And if you're waiting on those games and you're like, well, I can get a bundle for like 50 or 30 less bucks, I'm like, there's a chance that in a couple months, you might be able to get a bundle for $30 less, but the actual price of the Switch goes up $50. So now you're kicking yourself for that extra $20 that you could have to go and pick up Hollow Knight or Deltarune or something like that on the side. I think that I don't expect that, by the way. I do think that they're going to try to do whatever it takes to make sure that they're sticking at that $450 price range. $450 is a number that screams we do not want to be $500. We want to come in under that PlayStation price because we are underpowered compared to that console. And everyone knows that. But the second that you hit that $500 price mark when it comes to the console itself, that's too dicey. That's too rich for a lot of people's blood. So they're going to do whatever it takes to stay at 450. But if they feel like they have to do it, that is when they will go and pull trigger on it.
I think that's the most important key aspect here, is that this is something that they probably have to do. Like, I wouldn't be shocked that because of tariffs or whatever, that they were selling the console at a loss. And you can't be selling a console at a loss this far into its life cycle. That they were like, we've had so much bad press this year when it comes to the $80 games, the console breaking the price of the new console. It's like, we cannot continue to have this bad press, but we have to do this, and it's going to look pretty bad for us to just like raise the price for a console that should probably be going down in price. But I feel like they're in a situation where they have to do this, and that sucks for the consumer. It sucks for Nintendo. It just sucks across the board. So yeah, it's a tough situation all around.
Headline: Battlefield 6 open beta, trailer, release date, price point, battle royale, and everything else we know. This is from Eddie McCooch at GameSpot. This is a write-up that is bullet points basically, and I just pulled some of the more interesting bullet points, mainly because I've watched so much Battlefield 6 in the past 2 days, like a ridiculous amount, that I more just want to have that conversation for some of these other details. But some of these details are very important to discuss. So, quote, when will Battlefield 6 be released? Battlefield 6 will be released on October 10th. How do you pre-order Battlefield 6? Battlefield 6 is available to pre-order now, and it's not $80. The standard edition is $70, while the Phantom edition will go for $100. Did you like me deepening the
what the fuck is the Phantom edition?
The Phantom edition. I don't know. Check back soon for the GameSpot's pre-order guide. Battlefield open beta. The Battlefield 6 open beta kicks off very soon, and it will take place across multiple weekends in August. End quote. That's where those were sort of just the main bullet points that I wanted to pull from this one. I have watched so much of this. Have you been keeping up with any of the Battlefield 6 hype at all, or like since we've gotten a little bit more information about it, or not so much?
A bit. I've just really been focusing on the way that the audience is receiving all of this information, which is overwhelmingly positive. People are fucking stoked on this.
Connor, I'm fucking stoked on this at this point. We sat at this desk a week ago, and we both were like, I know myself well enough to be like, yeah, it's new hotness. If a lot of people are into it, I'm going to have a good time. I like multiplayer games. I like the idea of staying up till 2 a.m. and listening to a podcast and playing Battlefield. Like, that sounds, as an idea, like a good one. I'm about that life. Watching people and creators and press get hands-on and watching these streams and the amount of shenanigans, it goes back to where Battlefield excels. It is, if you're on comms with friends, oh my gosh, you're going to have a blast, because it is that full team experience that you get in something that's more catered like a Valorant or a CSGO.
But a little bit more arcadey. Like, it's just, it's
you die
closer,
and reload.
Yeah,
we go. Yeah, I think that it's the perfect mix between something that is like Call of Duty, that is go, and then it also has a little bit more tactical nature of having comps. This just seems fun. Like, and yeah, the destructibility is off the fucking rails, and running around some of these environments looks super dope. They have the confidence to go and release multiplayer stuff for press and for creators, and then less than 2 weeks later have a beta. Like, that to me screams a abundant amount of confidence to be like, yeah, no, you're going to be able to play this, by the way, in a couple weeks. Also, October 10th. Like, right around the corner, basically. We're not going to be in that November release date where we're trying to go and have our ad next to other games that are going up for Black Friday sales. Like, no, we're going to be out October 10th. Have fun with us. Go for it. And it's at $70 when some people thought that EA could be pushing to that $80 price range, which would be devastating for a game like this. Thank gosh it is not $80. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is just all wins. I think that they're fucking crushing it right now. They did. I can only imagine being on the PR side of something like this for EA and just being like, hey, what's best case scenario? What is happening right now on the internet is best case scenario. The people are loving it. And I know that because I'm one of those people. Like, this just looks awesome to me. Are you going to hop in on this one with me, or any interest in the beta, or wait for full release? Where are you at?
I like to think that I will find the time to get into this game. There's just a lot of games coming out in September and in October that might make it a little bit difficult, but I could see myself being like, okay, I'm done playing Ghost, or for the night, let me hop in and play a few matches of Battlefield and just kind of mess around with friends over there. I think that the way that the audience has received this makes me think that this game might actually get closer to that projection than we think. I don't think it's going to hit 100 million,
baby.
But
100 million.
People are fucking fed up with Call of Duty and the direction that series has gone. Beavis and Butthead in Call of Duty. People are like, get this shit out of here. Tac Sprint. It's way too sweaty and frantic. They want something more grounded, more serious. They want Battlefield 3 and 4, and it looks like this is a spiritual successor to that kind of experience.
There's quotes from dev teams being like, yeah, we want to go make Battlefield 3 and 4. We want to make that experience again. So, yeah.
And as somebody who really enjoyed those games, enjoyed Battlefield 1, I'm excited and interested in getting back into this franchise. The ball is in their court. All they need to do now is not fuck this up. And this game is going to be massive. And the only way they fuck this up is if it is completely broken at launch when it comes to like glitches and bugs and such, and like not running properly, or like the servers are shit and it can't handle the amount of people that want to play it. If they can iron out those two potential issues, this game is going to be fucking huge. If the reception online is any indicator.
Yeah, I think
it's all the dominoes are lining up for them. People fucking hate Call of Duty. People are excited about the Battlefield franchise and wanting to go back to it at this point. 2042 kind of sucked. They're pivoting and going back to something a little bit more realistic, more grounded. We are setting ourselves up for a absolute banger, and I think that it's going to hit. I think they're going to do it, which is shocking. I think these betas are going to be a very good indicator.
Oh, yeah.
If a lot of people are playing these betas and it doesn't completely fold under that weight and it seems like it's decently polished a couple months before release, you can probably expect that it's going to be decent at launch. I still think do not pre-order this game.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even wait a day after it's out to just be like, let's just make sure that this isn't a Battlefield 5 2042 situation and the game is completely busted, or even Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 also fucking sucked at launch too.
Yeah.
Like, this franchise has not been able to get out of its own way for a while now. Battlefield 1, even being a great video game, had fucking issues at launch. Like, there was a bunch of like glitches and bugs that were actually kind of funny and played into some of like the viral moments for that game. But so it got a little bit of an excuse, but it still wasn't great. So I think that expecting that here is healthy. Having some skepticism is fine going into it. I think that they know what this moment is, though, for this franchise. This is it.
Yeah.
They need to knock this out of the park. And Vince Zampella has been brought on to spearhead it, who I think did Titanfall and then did Jedi Survivor.
Get in the comments. I believe you're correct.
Jedi, Fallen Order, and Survivor, and then was brought over to DICE to do this. And they have 4 studios working on this.
Yeah.
It's like DICE, Motive, and 2 others, like big EA studios. Like, they're putting everything behind this game. So it seems like they know what they're up against. They know they're up against Call of Duty, and they're trying to take a knock at the king that's been in that first place for a very, very long time. And this is their one shot to knock them off.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it here, they're never going to do it.
I completely agree with basically everything you just said.
Yeah.
This is their moment. I think that you also... I'm going to bring up Concord. I gotta. Because we were here a year ago. And I understand there is a massive difference between new IP and something that is beloved like Battlefield for a lot of people. People in our comments last podcast were like, yep, I fucking love Battlefield. I'm excited. I'm like, we haven't seen jack shit. And they're like, I still love it. So people love this IP. But we are talking about a world where, yes, thankfully for Battlefield's case, Call of Duty feels like it's slipping. Also, the reception to BO7 was probably the worst reception for a modern Call of Duty I've seen in quite some time, where people were just like, no, we don't want this right now. Also, don't close out a showcase with it. It just was not great.
I think it's also because BO6 launched so well, and then it's just constantly kind of gotten worse and worse and worse in the public eye.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. 100%. I'm getting roasted for my love of BO6, and it's like, yeah, I played in October and November, and then I fucking stopped, but I played 80 hours of that game, and I loved it. And there people are like, oh, wait, so you played it when it was good. I'm like, yeah. And then I dipped out. I think that BO7 is going to have a very warm reception. I think that I think that it's going to have a good reception just in general. Because I think that these games actually are well polished and well made, and they are good, and it's Call of Duty.
I think it'll have a similar reception to Modern Warfare 3.
The DLC that is, yeah.
I think that might be what this is.
I hope it's not. And I really hope that they are like, no, we're going all in on a brand new campaign that's fucking awesome and changing the game a little bit. And like, I think that they have the makings to make a good Call of Duty. Don't get me wrong. I think Call of Duty right now is just absolutely terrifying for Battlefield's marketing and PR and everything of when are we going to get that Call of Duty next? When are we going to get the ball rolling on hearing and seeing what's next for Call of Duty? I wouldn't be shocked if Gamescom we got a trailer. They love doing a Gamescom trailer for COD for Gamescom for Call of Duty. I think that there's a good chance that happens or something around it. But the clock's starting to tick on when are we going to get a release date, and I have a bad feeling that rolling up to the party in October, the month that is so effed up already right now, is going to be Black Ops 7, and you do not want people to have to think about what they're playing. I think October 10th, though, is early enough to beat out that release date, whenever it is. I think that Call of Duty's have been a later October date, and the fact that we haven't heard anything from it yet feels like it's going to be a late October or an early November Call of Duty, and that is massive for this game. I'm stoked about this one. Can't wait. Very, very excited. Connor, we have new Patreon members for this month. Thank you so much for supporting the show over on patreon.com/coop64, where you can go and get the show 3 days early. It really does mean the world. You do keep the lights and mics on, and it is a new month, so we have new Patreon names. If you have a new name, I'm going to say this now because it is the first show of the new month. I want to do this every single first show of the new month. If we mess up your name, let us know. Discord or hit us up on Patreon, anything like that. We will go and make sure that we say your name right. Secondly, if we were to like forget you or anything like that, I double check always at this point. But like, please reach out if you have anything wrong with your Patreon ever. Please reach out. It's highly important to us that we are doing everything we can to go and make that a great experience.
You're supporting the channel. You're supporting the stream. We want to make sure we are always doing right by the audience who is supporting us over on Patreon.
Amazing members like Trace Hurd,
Crumbly L,
Sir Shellas,
Lumus,
Gracie,
Chuzar,
MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Farmer Spud,
Rocketator,
Nofi,
Swampy Bits,
Jaxie T,
Tristan C,
Sconzy C,
Sconesy
C,
Strachan 1978,
Dinkelberg Rules,
Centuru,
Hook'em Horns,
Gonash,
Da Scooby,
Neutral Sphere,
Easton C,
Stooby Dooby Doob,
We Knew This Kingdom,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Big Mac,
Metal Nate,
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog,
Cowboy Jesus,
Yogi,
Dom,
Hole Nem,
Colin C,
Brack,
Voodoo,
Milky Sins is making an appearance, Connor. Milky Sins.
Dr. Foogie Bear,
Alex the Golden.
Andrew H,
Bad Fellow.
Master Diz. You skipped one.
Oh, sorry about that. Only One Rufus.
Drifter X1, Skirt,
J Matt B3.
Goops,
Ali Ben Ali.
and Kingdom Hearts Sucks.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.